Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Hanson Finance Committee meeting of March 16th, 2021. I will entertain a motion to open.
Motion.
Motion's made by Mrs. Werdeman,
Second.
second by Mr. Dugan. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Dugan,
Aye.
Mrs. Wright,
Aye.
Mrs. Werdeman,
Aye.
Mr. Sullivan, aye. We are open for business. All right, thank you everyone for joining. I know Mr. Powers is on vacation in Hawaii, so I don't think he'll be joining us tonight. And I don't know.
Can't phone in?
I said, you know, he's 5 hours behind us, so it's only lunchtime there. He could phone in if he really wanted.
Hey, in a prior committee, we did have somebody call in from Hawaii once.
I remember. And I don't know about Mr. McCormick, but we have the 4 needed, so we'll proceed with our business for tonight. I have 2 department heads scheduled for tonight. First up and already joining us on the line is Mr. Gil Amato, the health agent for the town of Hanson. So we will start there. Mr. Amato, we'll let the floor be yours to hit any brief highlights of the budget or any major items you foresee from a health agent standpoint for the upcoming fiscal year. So Mr. Amato, the floor is yours.
Okay, just going over, starting with the budget itself here. The health agent position, there's really no changes in that. It's at the 64, I believe was the original number back 2 years ago or something. Just getting involved in the budget in the last couple of months. I've been busy doing some quarantine. I really wanted to be here tonight to do this.
Mr. Amato, if you can lean a little bit closer to the mic, we're having a little trouble hearing you.
Okay, let me try something here. Is this any better?
Much better, thank you.
Okay. Okay, starting all over again here. I wanted to do this tonight myself instead of having anybody else here. Seeing this for the first time, doing this as the health agent. With the Board of Health budget, you have the health agent salary, you have the administrative assistant salary. Still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, and then the animal inspector salary. There's basically no changes in those. The administrative assistant, that's a union position. The animal inspector, that's a state regulated. I mean, we control the salary, but that's a state position that we pay, and it's part of the state and Board of Health as far as the position itself, the animal inspector. There's no great changes there. Okay, moving along, we have other expenses. We have like advertising. We've got that at, I think that's level funded from the previous year. That's $400. Meeting and mileage, that's a change there. When I first started out here, was burning up the mileage line because of how much trips I was making to different places. Only inspections and COVID compliance, which I'll get into that in a little bit. The water testing, that's $1,000. We haven't really got a lot of call for the testing. We don't test other beaches, and the Cove pays for their testing, so that line kind of remains open a little bit. I like to take a look at that once the season starts. The good warm weather comes here. And the office supplies, that's pretty much leveled. Medical supplies, that was put in there by the chairman a few months ago, and I'm not exactly sure of that. I think I'm looking into, I believe that's can reimburse COVID through COVID money. I'm not exactly sure what the intent of that particular item was. So leaving that open here. Members dues, that's like two different organizations that we belong to. And other expenses, expenses that do come along, that line has been expended before. I think it's, I think it was like $800 at one time. Purchases and contractual services, that's like the independent food inspector we use, and a couple other people that Title V inspectors that we also use. That line should remain the same. I don't see really any change to that due to the fact that, the job I have has increased dramatically. So, and going along here, the next line I have is V&A services. That line doubled last year here. Well, the end of this year would be double because the V&A was doing a lot of Maven tracing and contact tracing, and they dropped us, the previous year. So we expended $13,000, and normally it's carried for the $5,600. And I would like to carry that because sooner or later, once this thing's all over, I think the state's going to say, wait a minute, you guys haven't hired a public health nurse. You're going to need a public health nurse at some point in time. We've been fortunate, the administrative assistant and myself have done quite a bit of that ourselves, and the state has allowed that to happen, but I'm not sure if they're going to let it continue on. So, so that's basically the total of this part of the spreadsheet. Anybody got any questions on this? Want to go over anything here? We'll start with this one first.
Is your Maven tracing or the public nurses you use COVID related so you can get expenditures back from? Should be.
Yes.
Did you get any back?
Not as of yet. We
Okay.
put this, okay, this $13,000,
Yep.
that the V&A, 5,600 was, was applied to that. That was, in the contract. That money we will get back if we haven't already got that money back, the overage on that. I believe we have gotten that back.
Okay.
We've had money come in, and we've also had a grant come in that we've used also. So the final figures aren't really on that yet. So keep everybody posted. I'll try to pay more attention to the budget myself this year. So, so that pretty much covers the actual Board of Health budget. And let me get back here. Okay. I'll go with any questions you have right now.
Okay, let's open it up to the committee. Any questions on the general Board of Health budget line items?
None here. Seems pretty straightforward to me.
So I'll ask one, Mr. Amato. Is there, with all the issues that COVID has brought, has there been any changes as to, how much, is there a certain amount of PPE you're required to stock? Is there a certain turnover of that?
Yes, that's why I'm questioning, because we, the town has gotten, some PPE, the fire department, and we also have gotten some from the coalition, the Emergency Medical Dispensing Site Coalition. So we've gotten some there. That's why this $2,000, I'm not sure why she wanted that put in there, but she wanted that in there. So that's one of the ones I'm looking at. And also the V&A services, I think, once we get a final figure on that, that is definitely going to be cut back. And I like to keep it at the 5,600 in case at some point in time we do have to hire the public health nurse, which I think the state is going to make us do it. And also, let's get back, see if there's any questions. There is a, go ahead. Oh, listen, on that one line, where am I here now? Meeting miles, that's $3,000. I've had use of the surplus vehicle, fire department vehicle, since this all started. I've put about, in a year and 6 months time, I put like 15,000 miles on this thing, going back and forth. And you're aware of the governor's orders. He's got over 65 orders in place, and it comes from the governor to the Department of Public Health, to the health aides, to the health departments to enforce these orders. There's like 65 orders and 35 sector specific compliance issues that I go out every day we haven't been able to, separate this from my normal duties to what's COVID related because it intertwines so much between restaurants and businesses. We've also been added that it's also been put on responsibility of local boards of health, the private sector also, such as manufacturing facilities. So it's my job to be out there making sure that everybody's in compliance and answer all complaints that come to the state Department of Labor Services. Complaints come to them down to the Board of Health office. The Board of Health office has been very busy. I'm not bragging, but I've been, my salary's 35 hours. I've been ending up, spending 40, 50 hours a week at this, and which I'm not complaining. I mean, it's my job. I love the town. I've been my whole life, and I'm dedicated to the town. I mean, I've been out weekends to sports teams, T-ball games, and different things that people have put complaints into the state. So I have to go out. I have to answer every complaint there is, and respond to the people, the state, and what I've done, and education to the people. So it's been quite complex for the Board of Health Department. I'm sure also along with other departments, no one's ever experienced that between the Board of Health, Police and Fire. We've been, it's been a pretty busy year for us. And, it seems like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but as we start to reopen more, more requirements of business in the public and private sector, have to comply, and it's up to the Board of Health to ensure that this does happen. So that's the reason. The $3,000 part there, the mileage. When I first started, I was burning up the mileage, and I ended up with a vehicle from that's was used by the previous health agent, Survivor Service vehicle. So it looks like we're going to be able to continue that, and which will lead me to my next portion here. The vehicle that we've put in under capital improvement, as long as I keep retaining that vehicle has to remain on the capital plan if we want to do something with it in the future. And we're apparently a green community, and if anything changes as far as the vehicle has to be new, has to be a new purchase vehicle that gets so much miles per gallon. So that stays there as a capital improvement. And then the capital improvement felt that it might just be in the small vehicle section. So that's just hanging there to make sure at some point in time, if it does happen, we'll be able to do it. So, and that's pretty much my presentation here on the Board of Health budget. So,
Okay.
too much
Great.
information.
I have a question for you. The animal inspector is different than the animal control officer?
Yes, different. The animal inspector is a state, it's almost like a state position. It's
Okay.
soft hoof and, and rabies. They handle soft hoof and rabies. They handle all the rabies. She handles, our animal inspector is a woman. She's done it for numerous years here. She handles all dog bites, anything rabies related, cat bites and all that. And she's done a good job for many years. And I don't think that position amount has changed that much at all. So.
Okay, thank you.
So we're all set with that one.
Yes, sir. I think so. I don't see any questions from the group.
Okay, this is the transfer station. We'll start off here. We'll start off with the attendance. As you're mostly aware, we had one of the attendants that passed away, and we ended up with one full-time attendant, and filling in for the attendant that passed away, we used the part-time attendants. We recently hired one of the part-time attendants full-time to replace the one that passed away. My intent there is not to hire another part-time attendant at the present time. The part-time attendants were hired to fill in for the full-time attendants when they're during vacation or time off. We can call these guys in, and I want to proceed not hiring one. At some point in time, we might have to hire a part-time one, but I'm going to try to hold off for the next few months and see how it works out. The new attendant, I mean, it'll be a while before he takes a vacation, and I'm not sure what the union standard is on him as a new hire, which that's something I'm looking into. So I'm holding off on that and utilize the other part-time attendant to fill in when the days off, sick, and vacation time. So that pretty much covers that salary lines here for the attendants. So. And we'll get to the nuts and bolts here, I guess. It is waiting for, huh? So, okay, the solid waste. I know everybody's, the solid waste is the major thing here. We have that $329,000 that I see on the bottom of my sheet. Excuse me, $378,000, $73,000. So it combines that, disposal services, hazardous waste day. We carry the hazardous waste day at that. At some point in time, we were able to utilize the setup for the hazardous waste day. We have a multi-town hazardous waste day that we all contributed to. So that is half of what it actually costs because we use part of a grant to complete the hazardous waste day. So that $3,000 a stay. And we have money in our RDP grants from DEP to contribute to hazardous waste day. So I'd like that to stay the way it is. And as I say, as we go along here, and we're expecting another grant shortly. We did get a grant a few months ago for the previous year, and hopefully getting another grant shortly for some equipment we want to utilize, so that we want to purchase. And recycling, that's for the CRTs and all that stuff, stuff that's banned from the mainstream waste. So this figure here is like $373,000 that I have on my sheet. I believe that's what matches yours, for a grand total of $517,625. Is that what you have too?
Yeah, that looks to be sort of in line with what we had talked about.
So what we have done, as you're aware, we had an article for town meeting for $55,000 for new compactors. We rent the compactors and they're old. And my thoughts were in, trying to, cut cost here to purchase the new compactors so that we could have more efficient compactors. The compactors we rent, they're between 30 and 40 years old. They're old. They still compact pretty good. They run fairly good, but would like to upgrade, in which we are, trying to get bids out. I would have wanted to have this done within, the new fiscal year, but it doesn't seem like we're gonna be able to get the paperwork done. But the ones we would buy, that, they're more efficient, use less electricity. Ones we have, they're old and they're kind of worn out. They don't do that good a compact, and the company's not going to replace them because they only charge us $600 per month for those compactors. For other companies we priced out, it would be $600 a month for each compactor with the total of 5 compactors. So that was cost prohibitive. So staying with what we have for now until we're able to purchase our own. And also on the disposal services, Mr. Stanbrook and I, we extended that contract another 6 months. We're still in process of other companies trying to bid it. With the commodities market, it's kind of strange. And we've reached out again to other companies that would like to bid it. And they say it is getting better, but pretty much everybody is in the same price category as far as mainstream waste and single stream disposal. So it's recycling. So I don't know how much we'll be able to get that down, just in the cost savings on the equipment and everything. I mean, if I get the compactors in by, fiscal year, there's a total of about $7,000 a year there. And it's just, as far as compactors go. I think that's probably the main things you guys really want to cover. Let me just check here. I really don't see how much, more. I mean, I haven't got into the, page and throw situation. I figured that's usually up to John. I think we have like, I think the figure I heard the other day when we were talking about was like $67,000 retained earnings. I would say we'd have to discuss that with them, as far as what we could use there. We don't want to totally use everything to, supplement this. I know it, we have to supplement it somehow and try to cut costs as best we can. Like I say, I'm, really, getting into it now, the course has slowed down a little bit, and you really look at, different ways of saving things. And it's all in the disposal, the recycling, the mainstream waste. I'm trying to get an actual decision from DEP as far as our grants and how much of the grant that we have that we can use to cut the cost of recycling, like taking, like say here's a, top of my head, say $15,000. We can take $5,000 over $15,000 over a 6-8 month period to reduce the cost of recycling. So, and these are some of my train of thoughts. And there's not much else I can say. Electricity, the new machines, yeah, they'll probably use less electricity. How much over the course of a year period? Is it going to be $800? I don't think it'd be 1,000, but between $600 and $800, I figure. And also working on making sure that the containers they can leave full, that we don't let light containers go. We've had a couple instances where they've come in on days off and they've pulled light boxes, and that's not allowed anymore. I've spoken to the company about it, and we want to make sure the boxes are totally full to their capacity before they're taken away. So that's my thoughts in a nutshell here. And if any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Amato. I'll open the floor to questions from the committee.
I just, my questions center around just trying to make sure I understand the disposal services number, where in that number is that the other line item that's recycling and other, is that really the cost for the recycling takeaway, or is that
That's
or some
recycling.
of those other programs that you were
That's-
talking about?
That's the other programs. That's the
Okay.
e-waste, the oil recycling, and that type of stuff.
So in that 209,800 is the orange bags and the recycling combined for different prices per ton for each one,
Yes.
wrapped into one line item?
Yes.
Okay. And as a follow-up to that, you made a comment about the contract was extended for 6 months, and still looking at bidding things. I'm hearing you feel somewhat confident based on some of the conversations you're having that these costs going forward may be relatively stable. Am I putting words in your mouth, or am I hearing that correctly? I guess what I'm getting at is that if we get to basically the start of the next fiscal year, is that going to coincide with a new contract that may or may not be adding additional costs, because by that point in time, that's the best we could do? And how do we account for potentially additional costs for contracts that may come up at the beginning of the next fiscal year?
Well, I think the contracts, I think they are going to go up. I believe that New Bedford Waste does have an increase there within, I think it's line 8 of the contract, like a index increase. I'm not sure what that's going to figure out to be, but I think the costs are going to pretty much stay in line. I've spoken to Waste Management, another company we've talked to like a week and a half ago, and the commodities market is getting stronger and strengthening. Not like we're going to realize multiple amounts of money to help us out there, but it will, stabilize at some point in time here. And that's what its disposal is based on, is the commodities market. So, we're watching it. I mean, John's been fantastic, and talked to different companies, where we would stand if we decide to move. And New Bedford Waste, they got themselves in a pickle here with our contract, and for us to absolutely move, the only way we could actually move would be to own our own compacting equipment. So, and that's what we've done. We've got the money to do it, and just try to put it in place. Because for any other company to walk in here, the compacting equipment would be a significant increase in cost. So, I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. Thanks.
Mr. Chair, was the compact is brought up last budget cycle?
Yes,
We discussed last budget cycle,
yes.
and we're now just getting around to it today, this budget cycle?
I think the funds
We
were
got,
appropriated, but I don't know if they were expended.
The funds were appropriated. They haven't been expended because of the bidding process and state contract. The contractor we had been talking to, he wasn't on the proper state bidding list. He was a vendor, and apparently a vendor can't do that type of contract. So we've been working on that. So hopefully, like I say, this fiscal year coming up, we'll have it squared away.
We're not looking for any more money in this fiscal year.
No,
Okay. All right.
the New Bedford Waste and where they end up. So
Right.
the only thing I see, I think, that pretty much that's what it is. Like I say, any type of thing, anything we can save on, we'll definitely do that and working on that. My thing is the only cost saving I can see is the less trips. The trips are only $147 per trip, but if we can make sure that container goes out at 10-ton instead of 7-ton, it'll be to our advantage. So.
Yep, no, absolutely, perfect. I wasn't following. I thought we were buying more compactors. You never have too many.
That would be that would be what was appropriated before. We're working on that. So
Perfect. All right, thanks.
Ken, to refresh your memory, when we had first talked about this, we had talked about, could we stage it, do 2-1-1 over a course of 3 or 4 years? But I think as the committee, as in hashing it out, it just was kind of one of those things that you kind of needed to do all at once. So I don't know if that's where some of that was coming from.
Yeah, perfect. I heard it come up and I knew we appropriated it last town meeting, so.
and we've taken a lot of stuff out of mainstream. We do mattress recycling. We got a grant for that. So mattresses don't go in the mainstream waste anymore. We've done that, and the cardboard's a big plus. Another thing, trying to, the cardboard, Hanson has a very good reputation for their clean cardboard. And it's a commodity that's starting to increase in value. Not that we're going to make any money on it, but it'll cover the cost of transporting it. So. No
Other questions for Mr. Amato? Mr. Amato, I'll ask a question. What I don't know, so I'm asking, and maybe you don't know off the top of your head. What is the price? What are we charging for a bag nowadays?
I just don't have it with me right now because
and I mean, obviously, I guess that's something we'll have to inquire offline. And as one of the only, I'll say, revenue generating streams, one of the town departments that generates some of its own revenue, I was just curious where we were at with the bags and if there was any thought given to, a slight increase in the cost of the bags to offset some of the increases that you're seeing for disposal services. So
yeah, and it's discussing. I don't have it with me. The price of the bags went up as far as the manufacturing. It's like 0.02 cents per bag because of the process of manufacturing, and the board, it was I'm not sure if they took a vote on increasing the cost of bags.
okay, I can reach out to, is Ms. Diaz still the chairman of the board, or?
Says, and Teresa's handling it. We're trying to make sure all the finance and everything goes, through the office here.
Okay, and I will email you and Teresa tomorrow, and we can circle back on that item.
Yeah, and I think I pretty much have covered everything, but I think just really, working with DEP and it's also recycling, see if we can get working on another grant, hopefully, and try to keep getting the cost down. It's not happening thousands and thousands of dollars, but whatever we can do and keep lowering the cost of it. So
Sure. All right. Are there any final questions for Mr. Amato? Seeing none, Mr. Amato, I'd like to thank you for your time. I appreciate you sitting down with us and going over the budget, and I will reach out to you and Teresa with the follow-up question, and that should be it.
okay, I appreciate it. And like I say, anytime anybody's got any questions, don't hesitate to call either Teresa or myself. We'll be happy to work with it. I think we're working together will help things go better and we'll get things done. So
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that closes for now. Our next presenter is on the line. I think Mr. Davis, are you on the line?
I am. Can you guys hear me?
Excellent, we can. We are joined now by Mr. Davis, the superintendent for the water department. So I will turn the floor over to you, Jerry, and you can run through your budget, give us an overview. Any of the major points. You don't necessarily need to go line by line, but if you want to go line by line, that's fine. Or you can highlight some of the major changes, and then we can circle back with questions at the end.
So basically, my budget is almost level funded from last year. I met with Todd and John Sandberg, and we discussed our Area 5 project, which is roughly about $13 million for our new well site that we are actually postponing to 2023. Other than that, everything else is pretty much on target from what we've been doing for the previous year. If you want me to go line by line, I can, but if you guys have any questions on something you see, feel free.
Yeah, are there any major points you want to point out in the budget that you think are worthwhile mentioning?
Basically, no, it's pretty much level funded. Like I said, the only thing we did was we changed the Area 5 on our capital improvement, number letter D. So we planned on doing $13 million for Area 5, which we are actually going to move to 2023. We also took out water mains in 2022, which is $1 million, and we just took that off the table. Yeah, there's really not much change. The only change that we have is that we have a minus $32,000 on our health insurance, which is actually puts us a little bit under budget from last year. And pretty much everything else is the same. Except union contracts as well.
Well, that would be, I guess, my only question. Looks like are you the new superintendent?
No.
No. Well, he got himself a hefty raise.
Excuse me?
Your clerical support staff looks like they took a $30,000 hit. Is that part-time now, or?
We actually, because of COVID, we let our part-time clerk go.
Okay. So I got that. So what is the huge increase up top for the water superintendent?
Yeah, the 10,000.
Well, he went from 93 to 99, and then he got 10,000 in other.
Yes, that's for a contract negotiations.
What was your percentage? Because that's way above what everybody else has got.
Well, when you're breaking out percentage, we went by. So what happened was when I originally took this job, I got a 3, 3, and 3. So I never initially took the initial 3% at the beginning. Okay. So I only got 2 3%. So what happened when I negotiated this contract going forward, I included that 3%, not adding on for the last 3 years. It's only 3 years that I got the 3%. So what we did going forward, we did the 3, 3, and 3 at the end instead of what it should have been at the beginning. So that was kind of, I dropped the ball on my part, which benefited the town because I never got the initial 3% when I negotiated the first year of my contract. So going forward, I negotiated that at the back end of my contract. And I also negotiated an additional for my stipends.
And is that $10,000, the other?
Correct. That would be for carrying my licenses and keeping them updated.
Are you the only water tech, per se, certified water guy?
No.
I got nothing. Thank you for explaining.
So sorry, just a quick question. The 10,000, that was the increases, and then you had mentioned your licenses. That's part of the 14,780.
the 14,784.
It says licenses, and then move from expenses. It's down in
So-
the
So
section.
the
after.
licenses, so when I originally negotiated my contract, the contract I'm in now, I was supposed to get a 3, 3, and 3% increase. I never took the initial first 3% increase, which would have 3 on top of the next 3 and the next 3, which I never took the first one. That was because I actually didn't put that in. So that was my error. So in the next negotiation of my contract, I basically just added on to the end of this contract instead of going back and trying to get the 3% that I should have got from the beginning and added on to the next 3 to the next 3. Kind of just now and voided it because that was my error. And then for the 10,000 was my licenses, my stipend licenses.
Yeah, Mrs. Werdeman, what you're looking at are his staffs.
Okay.
The people who work for him, their licenses. It came from a different line that used to be further down. And I believe it was just a sort of general expense line, and it moved up under the staff, and the salary and wage is permanent as a more permanent cost going forward. I think that was Todd had moved that up.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
That's
Yeah,
what that was.
we talked to Todd to see the best way going forward to make this more clear, I guess.
Yes. And Jerry, the site, what do you call it? Site D?
Area 5.
Area 5, sorry. Area
Yep.
5, that's the one you and I toured last year,
Correct.
year before?
Correct.
And there's no risk to putting it off another year?
No, so when I spoke with John and Todd, I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page, knowing that this money is going to be coming down the road, that we're going to have to go out to bond. And going forward with the, where it is with DEP, we're probably still another year out. So it made more sense to actually move it to the next fiscal year instead of keeping in this fiscal year. And now we don't want to tie up anybody's, bond rating or anything to that effect. So that's what we came upon to go forward 2023.
Okay, great. And my other question was, the water board, did they impose a rate increase?
We did. We did a rate increase for the next 3 years to actually supplement the cost of Area 5. And we also went to quarterly billing as well, because according to my Water Management Act, we have to go to quarterly billing. And it's better for the town because our revenues going forward, in the past, that the town would actually have to fund our money to pay our bills. So now going forward with the quarterly billing, that we'll actually have our money in the bank to pay our bills. So I think this has been going on for several years, that it's a money thing when
Yes.
we go do our billing. So we implement the quarterly billing. We started it this year, and so far, knock on wood, it's actually doing really well. We've had very little calls on the rate increase. We had the selectmen make a comment on one of their meetings. We actually did put something on the Hanson Express, and we also did it in the billing to let people know that we are increasing our rates to, cover our future asset, our future projects.
Okay, all right. Any further questions for Mr. Davis?
I just have one, kind of rolling through the bottom of the operating expenses. There's a kind of a catch-all miscellaneous line item as other expenses. And at least what I have in my budget book was, $6,900 in 2020. 2021 was appropriated for 10,000, and this would be 20,000 of what I have in the book. But in the narrative, it's listed as kind of planning for unexpected events and should be maintained at 15,000. So I guess I'm trying to just get to what the right number on that line item should be.
So When it comes to other expenses, it's usually we have a lot of unexpected expenses, basically due to our well field. We've had, our equipment isn't state of the art. We always have hiccups or something in that line. And if we expend that line that we have down there now, we also have that money to actually cover, kind of cover, you know, those other expenses to that. And I believe that's what we use that for. Just for that reason.
So is the right number 15? Is it 20? Is it 10?
So which one? So
5780, water, other expenses. At least in the, and the reason I'm asking the question is what I have in the budget book that was provided differs from what you have in the narrative, and I guess I'm just trying to get to the right number.
So if it's 20,000, let me look at it real quick. So it should be a 20. So the narrative should have went to 20.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, so the
The narrative
budget
should be
book's correct,
20.
the narrative needed to be updated.
Correct. The proposed operating budget is correct, and the narrative should have been up $5,000 on that one.
Okay,
And mind you, we actually, it's more of a comfort than a necessity, but it's some year we could actually get up to that number.
Are we
Okay.
going to be looking to get that support staff that we let go back? Obviously, you're gonna need something back when we.
I'm
start-
sorry,
When we start to open up again.
say it one more time.
Are you gonna be looking to get that support person that you let go back? Obviously, when we open up, you're gonna need that help back.
So as of right now, we're on a freeze on that. We're not in any rush to appoint that position.
Okay,
So as of right now, we are comfortable with the staff that we have now.
Okay.
Mind you, we do have, my admin is getting to a retirement age. So we're keeping that there just in case, you know, she decides to retire.
perfect. All right. Nope, just wondering if that was something we have to look forward, to try to get back in for you.
Yeah, no, we basically, it's on a freeze right now until we feel comfortable that we need to fill that position.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any final questions for Mr. Davis? Hearing none. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Davis. Always a pleasure to have an opportunity to sit down and discuss the budget with you. I will reach out with any further questions, but I think other than that, we are good to go.
Thank you,
Thank
guys. Have a
you.
great night.
Have a great night.
Too.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, so that brings us back through I'll say our department heads presenting for the night. I reached out to the town administrator and the town accountant, and I'm waiting to see if we can pull together some sort of joint session with the selectmen, or I might push for the very least to have Todd on maybe next week to see where we are and how we're progressing forward. I put a few, I had Mr. McCormick's favorite IT director put some of our documentation on our web page on the town hall website with regard to sort of a override calculator, the budgets where we're at right now. Obviously, I know the superintendent is meeting with the selectmen tonight, so I will have an update for you hopefully tomorrow with what was presented and where he feels that we can move the budget. So other than that, I really don't have any more updates. I'm going back to my notes from the last meeting and seeing where the questions were.
I gotta go.
Okay, Amy, thank you very much.
I'll talk to you later.
So that was, I'll say all I had. Did anyone have any questions for me? Anything they need me to look into for our next meeting? I'd like to go again next Tuesday. I don't know everyone's availability. I would like to, there is no, I think we've hit the majority of the town departments. I know the town clerk wanted an opportunity to speak with us. So I might see if Beth can do next Tuesday. And the only other one I was looking at was, I think, well, there is no highway superintendent right now, so it would be the town administrator who would probably walk through that budget. And then the other one I was thinking was recreation, someone from recreation to talk through their budget. And I don't know if that's, since there is no recreation director, I don't know if that's the town administrator as well. If that's probably our best source, is to go right to Mrs. Stambrook and get the answers there. That's the way I'm leaning though. So we'll see if he has some time he can carve out next Tuesday night for us.
Yeah, it'd probably be important to find out about that particular budget now that we have solid waste out of the way, because those are the two that usually give us the biggest
Yeah.
run for our money.
Yeah, and I've taken a look at, I've done the preliminary review. The transfer station, I think we all know the challenges with that. I think there is opportunity to cut costs there, as has been one of my points every year. There's an opportunity to cut costs there by reducing the hours. I mean, it's plain and simple as that. If we're going to have to prepare to absorb $1.9 million deficit, unfortunately, no department is going to go untouched. And to me, that means recreation and solid waste. So, I think that's why I was asking about, I don't know how often they increase the bag fees because I don't use the transfer station. Does anyone use the transfer station?
Yeah, I do. Well, I think everybody knows it's my family trash guy is my father makes the trip amongst myself and my cousin and a couple of the other family around town. But yeah, I buy the bags and they're still the same, $10 for the package, and it's either 5 large bags or 8 small ones, but it's the same price.
Right. They haven't changed the price in quite some time.
No. I mean, I ran into Arlene and asked her a little bit about some of this, and her comment was that there was an issue, or that Waste Zero, or whoever the company that's running this whole thing wanted to increase their costs, but apparently the state has stepped in and kind of went no. But it seemed like Gil was making comments that, it's 2 cents increase per bag production. It's, so I don't know where that all falls out in terms of, you made an agreement, here's what you were going to do, and do we still fall into that time frame of the agreement or not, or what the contract says for any production increases. I don't know where we stand on any of that, but point being is, what you're paying for the bags is the same it's been for, since it went into effect. At the end of the day, as far as that budget looks like, I hear what you're saying about cutting the hours to save some money, but to me, in one sense, it's almost like trying to throw a deck chair off the Titanic, where total budget for all the entire staff is what, 99,000. It's that $200,000, $210,000 of having the stuff taken away. It's the, whatever we figured, 30% usage are in the town is the ones that are buying the bags. It's just a simple equation of, there's not enough bags being purchased to offset any of these expenses. And you close for one more day. I mean, legitimately over a course of a full year, what does that save us? $10,000?
Yeah, I understand. You're right.
So again, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with the general concept of if we've got to get blood from a stone, everybody's going to bear the brunt of this.
That's the
But
point. I think we've been trying to do
I
that.
think some of the general expenses, I don't want to say are fixed, but I don't think there's a whole heck of a lot we can do with it.
Right. So what we've been trying to do for the last 2.5 years plus is to just absorb it into as a budget, and we'll just take the revenue and we'll use it that way. Because that's really the only way
Right.
this is going to survive. Unless it becomes a budget line item within the town's budget, it's not going to survive. It can't, as an enterprise account, survive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we were at what was a town meeting, 2 town meetings ago where we, like, was it like October of 19 where there was the back and forth between here's what it says for an enterprise fund and that taxation can be supported. I think we're all in agreement of if you set this up, that if you make money, you can reinvest your own profits, so to speak, as opposed to being, needed in other departments. But if we're accurate in our number being 30 to 35% of the town uses it and are buying bags, then you don't have the ability to generate enough revenue to offset any of these costs. And by that same token, you end up with, you're going to lose money every year and need some level of tax subsidy. So to Ken's point, what's the point of keeping it as an enterprise fund?
Right.
I mean, we talk about recreation, there's potential to be able to make enough money to support their operations. Not saying they get the Netflix deal every year, but that certainly went a long way to help covering some of their expenses. Water is, as we've talked, the true enterprise fund of, generating that revenue to support that budget. And every time they say we need another truck, it's not that it's a free cash item or that it's being funded, it's coming from their water surplus account, doing exactly what it's meant to do. I just can't forecast how in the next 5 to 8 years you're going to see any sort of ability for solid waste to generate excess revenues over and above what their expenses are.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I look at it as if everyone has to take a bite of this rotten apple here, we're gonna have to unfortunately, no, if we're facing a $1.9 million deficit, no department in town goes untouched. As much as we can scrimp and get there, it's not gonna move the needle a ton, but at the same time, we've got to exhaust all opportunities to drive some money back to the bottom line. And it's tough. I know people like the transfer station, people like recreation. They take a significant portion of the funds. And it's something we have to look at seriously going forward, especially where we're in this position. We don't have an out anymore with the school. The town made the agreement last year to go to full statutory, and here we sit. Just where we said we'd be at town meeting if this happened, and now here we are living that reality. So it's all good points. Like, anyone have any closing thoughts, items they want me to chase down or put on the agenda for next week?
Is that our number, 1.9 now?
Yes.
Okay. That's better than the 2 that it was 2 weeks ago.
What's that?
I said that's better than the 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's 1.9 as of the end of January. So I haven't heard of much moving in the past month. I know the school, I got a call today that they're negotiating. The school committee is in the process of negotiating with the teachers union. So that's
Oh, God.
not a good point to be at right now, where, you know, they're negotiating for an increase in salary as we're facing, you know, what possibly the biggest budget crisis of the last 15 years, maybe more. So, you know, that throws another interesting wrench in the
Negotiating 'cause
plan.
their contract is up.
What's that?
Are they negotiating because their contract is up? Or are they negotiating because of the COVID? We have to go back to school and this and that. Is it a
From what-
reopen or is it a negotiation?
It's their renegotiation. The contract is up and they're up for renegotiation.
Okay. Yeah, that is bad timing. But, is what it is. Yeah, I'm good. I got nothing. You want to try next, the 23rd?
I'd like to.
I'm good.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we're just, unfortunately, I think it's all of a sudden we're going to run out of time again, because we're still looking at as far as I'm aware, a May town meeting, back in accordance with our original schedule. I don't know if they're going to push it again, or, we still need to be ready. I'm out rattling the saber, as far as where we are and the trouble we're facing this year, but I can't do it alone. I need some support from the rest of the town team here, but I'll keep trying.
Well, in addition to that, as we're quote unquote running out of time, and I agree with that, do we have any drafts of articles that we need to start considering as well?
I have only seen one, and it was, let me see if I have it here. It was an early draft article, and I'm not even sure if I was supposed to get it. It was from the highway department. They have, let's see, 1, 2, looks like 3. So I can give them a quick read, just a read, and one is a $14,000 for improvements to private gravel roads. It doesn't say a funding source with all of them.
Mhm.
I remember hearing that last year at town meeting. We had.
I remember that, yeah.
Comes back here.
I think it was
The
10 instead of 14 too.
The second article is for $14,500 for the purchase of a commercial mower. It says the mower will be used for the mowing of town fields, ball fields, and other town facilities. They have one 51-inch mower, which is not a commercial grade and is deteriorating. And then the third one is for $16,600 for replacement of guardrails at Poor Meadow Brook on Route 27, Main Street. It says Mass DOT has informed the town of Hanson that during a recent inspection of the bridge, the inspection team observed loose and missing guard cable system at all of the approaches. So that seems like it should be something that should be reimbursable from the state or some sort of fund, but what do I know? So that's all I have for tonight. Barring any questions from everyone, and that's it.
Well, then I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made by Mr. McCormick to adjourn,
Second that.
seconded by Mrs. Werdeman. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Dugan,
Aye.
Mr. McCormick,
Aye.
Mrs. Werdeman,
Aye.
Mr. Sullivan, aye. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks. Bye.